This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 489 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products and Total Saddle Fit. For tonight's USDF episode, we're going to preview the national finals with Lisa Goretta. After that, USDF Volunteer of the Year, Lois Yukins, talked to us about being involved in the sport. And then we're going to bring you a great trainer tip about half halts.
This is Reese Koffler-Stanfield from Georgetown, Kentucky.
And this is Philip Parks from Rockwood, Ontario, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show.
Hi, Phil.
Good evening, Reese.
How are you tonight?
Doing pretty good. We had a beautiful day here today, so it was a joy to be riding horses and teaching lessons.
Oh, I like it because soon it's going to be snowing.
Yeah, well, every nice day after now is a blessing, and I'll take it and we'll enjoy it.
That's true. Well, I have been to Canada one time when did you guys get married?
The 26th of October. So
yes, so happy happy anniversary past.
Yeah, thank you. It's 5 years.
It's 5. Whoa, gosh, that's right. But I have a great story because Travis and I had a great time and came to Phil and Meredith's wedding. And I'll never forget, I woke up in the morning, and again, I'm from Kentucky, so we don't get, we get snow here, but like the whole place shuts down for
because of a dusting.
Right, a dusting, right? So like I can't fathom a ton of snow. So we woke up in the morning at Philip's wedding, and there's probably, I don't know, a foot of snow on the ground, a couple of inches. It was
inches. Yeah.
It was more than that. It was a lot of snow. And I looked at Travis and I was like, oh my gosh, Trav, the wedding's going to be canceled. It's so much snow. And my husband just looked at me and he was like, we're in Canada.
It's funny because we were just talking about, because of weather, around your area now, they moved Halloween or something.
Yes, they just moved Halloween. I people that know I'm an aunt, and I love being an aunt, and I love my holiday is Halloween. I adore Halloween. I love taking my sister's babies, to Halloween.
The kitties are so cute.
The kitties are so cute. My niece is a unicorn this year, but unfortunately, we had planned on recording this evening. It's Tuesday actually, and we normally record on Thursday. We just happened to we have some things going on this week, so
I'm going to Las Vegas.
Phil's out of town. Exactly. So
yeah.
Phil's going to have fun. So we're recording on Tuesday, and I'm missing Halloween because they moved Halloween. It was supposed to be tomorrow, Wednesday, and they moved it to tonight. And we're working, so I couldn't do it, and I was really bummed to miss my niece's costume.
We're sorry that we're costing you Halloween, but like that's unheard of.
I know. I think we are anticipating a lot of rain. I think there are flash flood warnings up, so I think it legitimately is going to rain very.
Kind of a safety thing.
Yeah, it was a safety thing, but I don't remember them changing Halloween when I was young. I remember
it's
going
the date, right? Like you wouldn't move Christmas or
Right. But they
31st.
did. They moved it today, so I know it was a beautiful evening actually. So I think I've been getting pictures all evening of the babies, and they're having a great time. So, but Phil, if I'm gonna hang out, I like hanging out with you and all our listeners. It's pretty good. And you had a busy week this week, eh?
Yeah. Well, the weekend was, I think, it's becoming a bit of an annual thing. Charlotte Dujardin was in town teaching her master class, so I went to check that out and had a couple of nice days of learning. And Arthur Kotas was in town. Same sort of deal, just a little earlier in last week. Took some time to learn some stuff.
I love it.
Get inspired going into the winter, doing lots of training.
Yeah.
I have, if anybody knows, I have a couple of 5-year-olds in training, and I think between, the winter between 5 and 6 is a real super critical time for training. Really fun, but a tough winter of teaching all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, introducing half pass, really working on the horses' trots, that they are learning to put a little bit of collection suspension into their trot, which is kind of making them fancy dancy horses, and also a little of flying changes. So just getting started on that cool stuff. So yeah, it's a really fun time for me, and to be able to get some inspirations and some lessons and some stuff to think about as I'm training hard. That's really really fun. So we've had a really good couple of weeks.
Yeah, you have, for sure.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, and I also had a big weekend. Elin Court and I were in the USDF developing horse program. So we went to a clinic in outside of Cleveland at Betsy Giuliano's beautiful farm with Debbie McDonald and Lilo Four. So he was great. He hit the benchmarks we were supposed to hit, and that's just a fantastic program that you apply to go, and that you can find information on the USDF website. If you have a horse in the developing horse range and you meet with a sports psychologist, we met with Andy Thomas, who is the USET physio trainer, and he's going to come on the show. He's lovely, and Laura King is the sports psychologist we meet with. So you do a lot of training, and it's great, and it was a really fun weekend, and we were there 3 days, and a lot of work, but Elin Court, we call him Hello, was really fantastic. So it was quite also a fun experience, and kind of get some more benchmarks just for the next month or so, and we have another clinic in December, so they keep us on our toes, and it was really fun. So
keep progressing, keep working hard.
Keep working hard. They really had us working hard. So we're going to keep working hard for sure. So that was fun. So we had both big weekends, and then you'll hear coming up, we have the national finals here in Lexington next week. So lots of stuff going on for me in the next week or so. I'm going to need a nice vacation after, but looking forward to it. So we'll jump right in for our USDF episode. We have the vice president on next, Lisa Garetta, and she's going to talk all about the US Dressage finals. Well, Phil and I are very excited to have Lisa Garetta. She's the Vice President of USDF and Chairwoman or Men of the Organizing Committee for the U.S. Dressage Finals. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much for inviting me.
Well, it is coming. Finals are next week here in Lexington, and we are
just around the corner.
Yeah, it's coming. We're praying for good weather, and I feel this year we're going to get it. This is what I'm feeling.
I think so. I'm keeping a close eye on the long-range forecast, and I have several Ouija boards out there. So it's looking like it's going to be a non-snowing, perhaps a little rain, but nice, seasonable, lovely Kentucky fall weather.
We actually need it. That's my plan. Yes, we need it here. It's going to happen. But it is a good reminder that some of the horse show is outside, so you do need to bring appropriate horse show gear for outside. Some of the horse show is in the Alltech Arena, so then you're on an inside venue, but it sort of depends on where you're showing, right? What ring you're going to be in.
Yes, it depends on whether you want to be first in the lunging area. Part of our stabling is indoors, part of our stabling is outdoors, although we do a good job, I think, of utilizing the preparations of the National Horse Show that's going on this week. So we've got plenty of curtains, and they're used to prepping the shed rows for colder weather. So yes, some outside, some inside. So pack everything you own.
Yes, pack it all, because you're probably going to need it.
Layers. The key is layers, I think.
Yeah, so that's true.
Well, if you pack for your horse, you're good. And of course, we have a great trade show at the U.S. Dressage Finals, so we can always help you with anything that you've forgotten to bring.
Or just call me, and I probably have a closet full that I'll just bring it all, put it in my car. So just give me a call.
There you go.
And I'll have it. Well, great. Well, Lisa, tell us a little bit about the show this year. We've got some exciting things going on.
Well, we're looking forward to, this will be our sixth U.S. Dressage Finals, and we're very pleased to say it will be a slightly larger competition than it was in 2017, although that was large enough. We've gone back to adding, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rings. I think we ran 5 last year, so that's exciting. We have lots and lots of freestyles. We have a very full schedule in the Alltech Arena, and I'm pleased to say we'll have the USDF network televising a lot of it for those that are at home and those that are cheering on people that have made it to the finals. It's a big deal having qualified from your regional championship, either as a top placer or with a score that gave you a wild card opportunity. So we're looking forward to seeing a lot of people from all over the country. Every region will be represented. So we're really looking forward to a good show.
I love it. And you were saying also that people from the West Coast, people are coming more. Is that correct?
Yes. I'm pleased to say we're a little up in those regions that have a greater distance. I think probably one of the things that's helping with that is this is the second year of the U.S. Dressage Finals travel grants. We have 2 groups that are eligible for up to $1,200 in grants to defray travel expenses. So I think that's helping. We've got $30,000 dedicated. So that combined with a grand total, I believe, of $100,000 in prize money makes this about our richest national dressage event.
That's fantastic. So we were talking too, just reminder for some people about equipment at the national finals.
Well, we're always concerned that once they've made the long trip to U.S. Dressage Finals that they have an opportunity to show their stuff without having any incidental problems. We are going to be checking equipment for all the Dressage and the Bluegrass open classes. And we strongly encourage all the competitors, anyone who has a question about any of their equipment. There's a lot of new stuff out there. Some of it's legal, some of it you think would be legal and might not be, even if they've been competing with it, but especially if they buy something new for the finals, that they take an opportunity to meet with our technical delegates, come down and join us early in the morning for open schooling in Alltech. And they'll have an opportunity, if you bring your equipment down, to take a look at it and make sure that you are going to be in good shape when you go into your class. Of course, remembering to drop your whip in your championship class is still up to the competitor. We can't really help you with that. But anything else as far as equipment, we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to go in and not be worried about what they're using to compete. You know, the Dressage Finals are, I think, the only show in the country where all of our equipment checkers are either licensed technical delegates. We've got a couple of eventing TDs and a couple of FEI stewards that are all volunteers working on doing all of our equipment checks after all the rides. Yep.
Wow,
they come in from all over the country. It's very exciting, and we've done that since the beginning of the competition.
Oh, that's fantastic. And they really are. I've gone myself to check, and just, and also it's a good time to chat with your technical delegate. Again, they're there to help you, not to be mean to you. So that's it. It's really easy, and it's not, especially the stewards in the indoor, it's not quite as busy as a normal show would be. So you can snag them on a break, and it's pretty easy to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Fran Cross and Jean Krause, 2 of our top dressage technical delegates in the country, will be officiating this year, so they'll be happy to talk to you. And neither one of them is mean or eats competitors.
Yes, we've had Jean on the program, and she's lovely. So yes, she's easy to talk to.
Yep.
So I was just going to follow the theme of volunteerism. Is the show in need of volunteers? Can people still help out if they've got some time on one or all of the days of the national finals? How does that work?
Well, the organizing committee is a rather large group, and our volunteer group is also rather large. We can always find something for a volunteer to do, but if you know that you are going to be down in advance, Kathy Graziola is our volunteer coordinator, and she has an extensive planning flow chart of who is doing what when, but I've never run into a horse show that did not have an opportunity to use an extra volunteer if you have some time available. So we have people who come in. We have a very strong core of volunteers who actually have been there every year, and some new ones each year. That's always great. Some of them we lose because they have an opportunity to compete, or they know someone who is competing. So that's always exciting. But we have a large group. It takes, I should know this number, but I think it's close. I'm going to find out what the man hours are, but it's about 100 bodies over the entire week-long
it's a big show.
setup.
It's a big show. Yeah.
Setup. Yeah, and it has a lot of hours. We've got one day that we're running, I believe, from 8 in the morning until 10 p.m. That, of course, is in the Alltech. So it's a show that does not stop when sundown comes, which sadly will be just after daylight savings time. So
right,
it's going to be really dark about 10 after 5.
Yes.
So that's too bad. Yeah.
Really
but we have a very, very full schedule. We're going to need to have everybody be on time and be on time for the award ceremony. So it's very exciting. There is no other competition like it. Our competitors tell us that. Our judges tell us that. Deborah Reinhardt is our manager this year, and Bettina Longacre and her assistant Sue McEwen are in the secretary's office again. So it's a very busy week, but it's a lot of fun too. It's very rewarding at the end of the day on Sunday, which seems to be later each year, to know that you've managed to put on this competition again for
it's a great competition Yeah, to spectate at, because the FEI classes are huge in the all-tack and lots of freestyles to be able to see. So, I mean, even if you stop by for a bit, I think you're going to be able to see some exciting things.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The competition is great. We have some more food vendors this year, and that's always exciting.
Oh, good.
More opportunity and more variety in food. And as I said, we've got a great full trade show. We've got some new vendors that are coming, so it'll be exciting. Great time to come shopping.
I love it. Oh, it's always a good time to go shopping. But Lisa, you're just kind of on the food and or some fun entertainment. What can people kind of be ready for, or are there still VIP tickets available? How does that work?
Yes, there's still some VIP tickets available on an individual basis. And of course, with the finals, because we have people who, some are returning to the Kentucky Horse Park, but for many it is their first time to the horse capital of the United States in Lexington, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. So we are sure to have not only some horse farm tours available, and of course the Kentucky Horse Park Museum itself and the park itself, which is a fantastic place. You can spend an entire day. You know, if you're not competing, there's plenty to do at the park. I believe there's something down there. What's that called, Reese? The bourbon tour?
Yes, there is a bourbon tour, and it is awesome, and it is worth any spouse or my brother, anybody, like, they always go on the bourbon tour. Philip, when he was here last year coaching, he came to coach me. He magically went on the bourbon tour with my husband, so it happens. It happens.
I do like the bourbon tour.
Trav and Phil disappeared for a bit, so they had a big time. So
Lexington is definitely a horse person's mecca. So if you're competing, of course, we've got a competitors party. We are having at our competitors party our famous bluegrass band, who has backed by popular demand.
Yeah, they're lots of fun.
Yep. So it'll be a great time. And of course, as I mentioned before, there's lots of shopping.
Yes, there is. I got stuck there last year. A couple times. Not gonna lie. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for organizing this event. It is a huge event, and it's a massive effort for USDF to take on. And certainly get a hold of me, or Lisa will be around. I'm happy to give some advice on where to go and what to do while you're here. But Lisa, thank you for all that you do and for getting the horse show. If people have questions or want to find some information about the finals, where can they do that, or how can they do that?
Well, we have this great website, USDressagefinals.com, which will give you all the information, the prize list, all the timelines. Everything will be up online. As I say, we're looking forward to having full coverage from the USDF network. And, it's as the OC chair, I do a very small part of organizing many people who do a whole bunch more work than I do. So certainly when you are there, take an opportunity to thank a volunteer. It's a good dressage love fest, an opportunity to recognize our adult, amateur, and open competitors from across the country in the series championship of our regional championships. Wow. So
thank you all for doing it. I'm looking forward to a fun week. We've got horses coming from all over. I become very popular the week before the national finals. I'm not sure why. I think it's my stalls.
Oh, I think you're popular the rest of the time too.
I'm very popular, but we've got a group coming in from California, and we're really excited to have them. So looking forward to a great weekend. Lisa, thank you again for all you do for the organization.
Thank you. Keep your fingers crossed for great weather.
Yes, for sure. Done. Thanks, Lisa. See you next week.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Well, right after this commercial from Kentucky Performance Products, we're going to come back with USDF Volunteer of the Year, Lois Yukins.
The sun is just peeking above the tree line as you walk into the barn. You grab your horse's halter off the hook and head out to the field. The dew shimmers in the sun as you walk across the damp grass. You call his name and his head comes up as he walks toward you, looking for the apple in your pocket. You take your time grooming, enjoying the peace and quiet in the empty barn. A refreshing breeze greets you as you start down the tree-lined path. Your horse ambles along on a loose rein as you both enjoy a relaxing ride. The feeling you get on an early morning hack is why we do what we do at Kentucky Performance Products. This feeling is brought to you by Microphase. Fill the nutritional gaps in your horse's diet Microphase Vitamin and Mineral Supplement is a low-calorie way to provide your horse with the vitamins and minerals missing from their diet. The horse that matters to you matters to us.
Well, I am very excited. This is a fun interview for me to have one of my mentors for many years, Lois Yukins. She is an FEI judge and has been part of my life and career for a long time. Lois, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Reese.
We're
and
excited.
Philip.
We are excited to have you because you have won a very prestigious award and much deserved. You are the USDF Volunteer of the Year. Congratulations.
Oh, wow.
I know. Wow.
It's overwhelming. I do have to tell you, there's so many volunteers out there, but I guess I was in line next or something. But, I think we all work hard.
I know you do.
But it's nice to be recognized.
It is wonderful. So tell us, you have been, I have known you because my mom also worked very closely with you for many years. And that's how I got to know you when I was a young rider, actually. And
right.
I've known you doing volunteer work for many, many years. And there's so many ways that people can volunteer at USDF. Can you kind of talk to us a little bit about sort of how you got started and where you went from there?
Well, I can tell you how I got started. It was, as a kid, I remember being at a horse show and scribing. It was at my hunt club in Michigan. And I scribed for somebody, and I thought, wow, this is pretty neat. And I didn't even think it was a volunteer thing. What did I know? I was 16 or 15. And it was for this judge, and I looked at her, and I thought, I want to be her. But then life went on, and I did my selfish riding and had a good time at it. But I thought, only way I can know some of these people is to volunteer with them, and I'll become maybe a little more knowledgeable. I'll be close enough to them that I can get some knowledge from some of these people. So I would volunteer in order, actually, to get closer to a situation I wanted to be in. And it really benefited me.
Lois, I think we should probably tell people that you are a high-level judge as well now, right?
Well, I am.
Yes.
And that takes a bit.
That's how I know you. That's how,
Yeah. But, and then I realized these people I was looking up to when I became more into dressage, and I saw there were dressage tests, and there was all kinds of stuff. There were shows and whatever, and to be actually in it, I looked around and I thought, there are a lot of people involved in these shows. Well, if I can't ride in them, which I did most of the time, but if I can't ride in them, who is making this happen? And I realized it's volunteers. Volunteers were running the shows. Volunteers were scribing. Volunteers were setting up the ring. Volunteers were doing everything. And I noticed that as a rider. And I thought, wow, it takes a lot to make this sport work and to make my life more fun. And I still wanted to get to know some of these other people. So I got into a judges program, and I loved the judges program. I was young, very young. It was in the 70s. I went through the program, passed the program, and I questioned some of the material. It bothered me. And so I found out who's writing stuff. And at that point, it was, combinations of some of our early people in dressage. And I thought, boy, someday I want to help them write it better. And so it was my desire to get involved in the judging programs because there's all this material that really should be very good. It wasn't always very good, but then I realized so few people were working on it. So I became much more involved in the judges programs. That was more my volunteering in life, was about judging and education. Very much always that. And it went up to, then I worked under Marianne Ludwig and Marilyn Heath, and that was something, in the L program. And they were nice enough to ask my advice on things. And I loved that. I thought, I'm getting some respect here. And this is after I had gone through more judges programs. And to me, it was so interesting, the development of material. And it just depended on what the trend was doing and who had the time to work on it. Because these programs and that information does not fall out of the sky.
Yeah.
And it just isn't created by the paid employees at the federations. It's from the volunteers.
Well, in the Learner Judges program, there is so much great information that comes through that program.
I'm really proud of that.
Yes.
I didn't start it, but I'm continuing it.
Right. And the material that you get when you are able to go through that program is phenomenal. And it's really a program that really, trainers and judges, you go through it and you learn so much. I haven't been through it now for a couple of years, and I know the material is that much better than what it was. And you've been so instrumental in that. And the United States, our judges program is by far one of, if not the best, one of the best programs in the world because of.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I really think it is. But it's not without a lot of volunteers. I have a committee of all of the faculty, plus a most amazing staff, just incredible staff. And between us all, we all have a talent for one thing or another. I'm not very good at proofreading. I'm not good at details, but somebody else is. Marilyn is. Mm-hmm. Trina on that program is our computer person. She can put these videos together in 9,000 different ways, and she is patient. I could not do everything. So I guess when you have a good group of volunteers, you have to assign them according to talent or interest, and that makes the program successful. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing that there are so many different people, and it doesn't, your skill can be brought to any number of situations that you didn't even realize that they needed help with this, or with editing, proofreading, computer skills. People think, right. Well, it's dressage. What can I bring to the table if I wanted to volunteer? You never know. I mean, it takes so much now, and on the technical side, as well with the website designs and all of this, that everyone is needed to make this whole thing work, right? I think that people, and on the horse show side of it, it's sort of like, well, we do pay quite a bit in fees to be able to go to a horse show, but barely any of that goes towards the people who actually run the show. It's all kinds of other costs that are involved, that the people who are running around and helping you get into the ring and are usually not paid, right? Or 90% of the people involved in organizing a horse show, we were just talking about national finals and how many hours and how many volunteer hours that takes to run that show. Like, your show fees are really not going towards all those people. So I think it's a good tip to be nice to everybody and not expect
I think
everything.
Most people are nice to volunteers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope so.
Yeah.
but
I've seen a couple of situations where, maybe the stress of a horse show has gotten to someone and they weren't super nice, and that can happen. But it takes a lot of people to run the sport, and
it's an expensive sport. If you ride in a horse show, it costs you hundreds, depending on the show, maybe thousands, and that doesn't go, like you say, to all those people. But if all those people weren't there, it wouldn't go.
It wouldn't go at all.
Or those fees would go up, and it would become more exclusive. So, but I think a lot of volunteers come into these things like the National Horse Show or finals or local horse show, volunteering just for the reason I started. I want to be near it. I want to be a little closer than I would be, leaning against the fence.
Yeah, as a spectator. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is a great way. That's actually how I got to meet Lois. Was my mom was very involved in volunteerism. She did all kinds of things, and so I got to meet people that maybe I would have never met if my mom hadn't have been so involved. And
that's right. Yeah.
And it was good because now, I try to do the same thing, and I try to be involved just like my mom was. I don't think I could be as involved as she was. Amazing, and really showed us, my sister and I, about volunteerism. But it is incredible in this organization how you can get to know judges, and then once you get to know judges, then you can start to say and have conversations with them on, what should I do with my career, or how do I do things better. And at the end of the day, we are all here to make things better for our horses and to enjoy the sport even more. So to have people like you, Lois, is just incredible. And it shows the Volunteer of the Year. It's voted on. How do you become Volunteer of the Year? There is a process for sure.
I think somebody gives nominations.
A nomination, yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
and
you're nominated. Yes, that's right.
Then it gets voted on somewhere behind some black curtain.
Secret processes.
That's Robertson. She'll tell us exactly what happens. Yes, exactly. But it's definitely a nominated and voted on position.
Well, it's really great, but I would recommend this volunteering thing to anybody just for those little reasons I said, to get closer to things. And Reese, you said it just right. I mean, you got to know me, so I got to know you. And then, everybody goes through a program or an L thing or judges them. Or I remember I was the chef for one of your teams. And, you get to know people. So the closer you are into it, the more you get to know people, because that's how you get people to help you along.
I think it's about. I think it's also about. It's really, really exciting to share a passion. I think anybody who has been to a horse show or anybody who rides are passionate about horses, and
that's right.
Reese and I are passionate about dressage. And so if you have that, just being around people who share that passion, and you can get into discussions, and you can. You go to different horse shows, you meet more people. There's a lot of people, but it's a small community. And
yeah, that's right.
And more and more
no matter
over the years
where you go in the world, just go to a dressage barn, and you're going to have friends.
It's true.
Absolutely.
Or make friends.
It's so true. It really is. And like you said, most people are nice, right? I mean, nice to share their passion, to be able to see great riding all over the world. I mean, that's been amazing part of my life. I moved to Europe. We spent time in Europe, and I just feel like I know so many people all over the world, all connected by this dressage thing. And a great way to get started with getting to know more people is just to volunteer. Scribing is such a great volunteer job because
and you learn a lot.
You learn so much, right?
Yeah.
It's really fun. It is really fun.
I've scribed myself, as I said, and there's nothing you wouldn't do for your sport. And, there's this term, giving back to the sport. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure I get that, because it seemed like I paid for or gave everything, all the way through. So I'm coming up.
Yeah.
And I think, well, what do I owe back? And it's just how you explained it, Philip. It's I want to be near these people. I want any reason to help the sport. So if somebody wants to call it giving back, fine. That's not my term. My term is I care about the sport. I sometimes worry about the sport, and just want to help make it better. and keep it up with the times. And, the young people are going to have to come along pretty soon and help us along in some of these programs. And, there's so many programs in USDF, for sure, that require a lot of work. Just the committee requires a lot of work. And if you're asked to be on a committee, any of you out there, it's not because we just like to look at you and want to hear your wise words. We want you to work.
Yeah, we need your help.
It's going to be work. You got to. It's not because you're smart, but we want to use that smart, or whatever it is, the talent. But it's so rewarding. But it's time consuming, and I think I could spend more time. I don't know, playing tennis. I'm not riding anymore, or eating bonbons and watching soap operas if there's still such a thing.
I don't see that. I don't see it.
No. But, this for me is a way that I think I'm doing something. And, one of the talents I have is the big picture. I see big pictures. I don't always know how to implement them. But, if anybody has a talent, just kind of try to pick where it should go, where you think you could fit in, and make a pitch for yourself. Don't wait for an invitation to that dance. And it usually ends up working.
Absolutely. And it's needed. I think that's, especially in USDF, you just need to kind of come to the convention and say, I'm interested, and you'll get, if you'll do the work, you'll get pegged to do something, but it's needed. It is
That's
really
right.
needed. And
that's right.
Lois, you've done it for years, and it's amazing. And then again, we're all benefiting from the work that you and the judges committee have done, and all the other things that you do. So we just can't thank you enough for what you do, and you're just a wonderful example of how we all need to be for our USDF and all of our local GMOs. So congratulations. It's such a well-deserved award at Volunteer of the Year. And we can't wait to have you on the show more and to hear more of your wisdom. We just can't thank you enough for coming on.
Thank you both. It was fun. And everybody go out there and volunteer.
Exactly. Come to the finals next week. We'll need you.
Come to the finals. Yeah, I'm going to be there. I'll see you there.
Sounds good. Thanks, Lois, and we look forward to our next interview.
Okay. All right. Bye.
This week's dressage training tip is brought to you by Total Saddle Fit, home of the shoulder relief girth at TotalSaddleFit.com.
For this week's Total Saddle Fit tip of the week, we've got a great listener question, don't we, Phil? But we were going to talk about something really cool that is kind of new for Total Saddle Fit.
Well, I mean, I guess it's new to us.
New to us, yeah.
It's the Total Saddle Fit shoulder relief cinch for your Western saddle. So I think that maybe we have a few Western dressage listeners, or I hope that we do. And we thought we'd bring to light this product because all their other products are really great. I personally can't attest to the cinch, but I know that the girths work really awesome, and I think that the cinch would work very well as well.
Absolutely. So, and as always, Justin has fantastic products for your dressage and English saddles, and you can find more information at TotalSaddleFit.com. So, Phil, for this week's Total Saddle Fit tip of the week, we've got a listener question. Can you read it for us?
Yeah, absolutely. This is from Tamika in Australia. She's got actually a couple of questions. She asked us about the auditing that we talk about quite a bit. So maybe, Reese, we can cover this question really quick. She says that in Australia, auditing would mean doing a quality improvement type of study, but I don't think that's what we mean when we talk about our great auditor group and the auditing that goes on for our program.
Yeah, so exactly. So I think there's maybe two parts to this question. We sometimes talk about auditing a clinic, and maybe that's just a North American way of saying, but when you audit a clinic, you go to watch a clinic. So
yeah,
that's the first,
observing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We do use the word audit, like your bank will audit your account. That happens sometimes, but I think it's fun. We have a little language, that's fun.
Issue, yeah.
The issue, yeah, exactly. And then the Horse Radio Network has an auditor program. It's a super secret program. It's a lot of fun, actually. There's a super secret Facebook page that is probably the most active Facebook page I know. It's a group of.
It is the most active Facebook page that I'm involved in. There's always new stuff going on and lots of chatting going on. But I think, for as little as like $1 a month, you can be part of that Facebook page. We get the auditors involved in our show quite a bit, through the book club and all kinds of stuff. So I think you just go to the Horse Radio Network page, and there's a link button to start your monthly donation, and you get to be involved in all kinds of cool behind the scenes Horse Radio Network stuff.
Right. So that's what sometimes we talk about auditing a clinic, but sometimes we talk about the auditor program. And so that's what we're talking about for the Horse Radio Network. So it's a great way to support us as hosts and the network as well. It makes a big difference for all of us. So we thank everyone that's an auditor that's on the show. And if you have any more questions, you can email us and we'll get you to probably Glenn or Jen. And but also you can find some more information out on the Horse Radio Network page. So,
okay,
I think that's a great question. And part 2, now this is the technical
part 2 is the
side
actual
of this.
riding question.
We're good at this one, yeah.
So she's wondering if there are any tips for how to teach a horse to be more sensitive or responsive to downward aids, particularly seat aids like half halts. She feels like her off-the-track thoroughbred runs through these aids at times, and she wants to not yank on his mouth, because he's quite sensitive and can be a little bit behind the contact in the first place. So this is a great question. Mm-hmm. Very common question.
Mm-hmm. Very common.
Give us your thoughts here, Reese.
Yeah, this is like my being in Lexington, I work with a lot of off the track thoroughbreds and a lot of horses that are going on to their second career. So this is a common thing around here for us. So a couple things, especially for the, basically that horse, it sounds like he really needs to just learn to accept the half halt. So that's kind of the first thing that we do is I like with my thoroughbreds, it's tough because a lot of them are just coming off the track and they're not really ready to feel the hand a ton. So some of the things that we do is we do transitions if we can within the gait. So I find that some of my thoroughbreds, especially the new ones off the track, struggle with standing still or struggle with sort of walk halt transitions, which I think are always a good idea. But sometimes that's not quite a possibility. So I think that doing a lot of transitions within the gait. So if you're trotting, starting to get to, let's say you're posting the trot and you post, and then you post a little bit slower. I think that that's a good way to start. And then you just do that several times until your horse sort of is obedient to your seat and your leg. You also can work on bending / turning lines. So if that horse starts to run, instead of pulling on the horse's mouth, you can turn the horse. I think that that's super effective. And as you're turning, it's always important to keep your aids on as you turn. So I think that's important. But in general, that's what that horse needs to learn is just learn to wait on the rider's seat a little bit more. And that should help. And that should also kind of help that curling behind the bit. Phil, how do you feel?
Well, it depends on the horse, but I will teach the horse to the voice aid first. Mm-hmm. If they have a hard time understanding seat, then and they will respond a little better to the voice. It's sort of using substitutive aids, and to teach the horse. So maybe with a little bit of lunging work, I would teach to the voice aid, and then try and teach the horse while I'm riding a little bit the voice, and using the seat at the same time. That can help. With these thoroughbred kinds, I might do a little bit of head to wall leg yield, because that if you just pull them straight back, they're not going to be very comfortable. But if you can sort of use your outside leg, so if you're coming along the wall, use your seat a little bit, nothing happens. Then I might put on, if they're sensitive to the leg or they know a little bit of leg yield, I would put my outside leg on, maybe a little bend towards the wall, and then teach them that way so that I'm not, yanking or pulling straight back on the horse's mouth. There's different ways to do it. I've seen it in different disciplines. But I think the number one thing is just a whole lot of patience with this one, because, it's very easy to feel like you're not making any progress and to sort of ruin any progress that you've already made by just going ahead and grabbing the mouth. So I think you're on the right track because you're thinking about this and you're really trying, but try a couple different things, right? And it takes months, to have a horse that will accept the seat. I think, when you're training a horse all the way up through the levels, and even if they get to Grand Prix and they're comfortable, you're always training them to be more sensitive so that you don't have to use as much, even seat aid. You don't want to even use as much seat aid to, create halt or a half halt. So I think it's just riding dressage is about training quieter and quieter and quieter aids. And I think those two ways have sort of helped me to progress, so that I don't have to use the bit as much or at all.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. So as always, we love listener questions. Keep them coming. We really, really enjoy them, and we try to listen to them as quickly as we can. So thanks again for your listener question. As always, we can't thank our listeners enough for the email and Facebook shout-outs. We've got a couple more to get to in the queue already, and we love it. So keep them coming. And as always, you can find Phil and I many different ways, but the United States Dressage Federation is your connection to dressage education, competition, and achievement. Visit USDF.org for more information. That's USDF, or www.USDF.org, the online destination for dressage. You can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website, dressageradio.com. Like us on Facebook, just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
I think the best way to find me is on Facebook, or my email is philip@horseradionetwork.com. I'd like to thank our sponsors for allowing us to put on a show. And don't forget to check out all the other shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
Everybody, keep your heels down and your shoulders back. And don't forget to look for me at US Finals next week. I will be around, and we will talk to you next week.